Hello, it's Drake. I've had a pretty interesting week. This was supposed to be my spring break this past week, and on Thursday morning, my apartment complex, uh, I have a hard time deciding whether I should say caught on fire or was set on fire. But yeah, basically at like 2:20 in the morning, I start hearing fire alarms, and sometimes it's not a big deal because people smoke weed. So, but I'm super paranoid. So I got up out of my bed and I open my door and I see a ton of smoke in the hallway. And then I start hearing some guy yelling, "Help me, help me," like that. And then I know it's horrible. So I thought at the time he needed help putting out the fire. Like I thought the fire had started in his room. Let's say he fell asleep with a cigarette in his mouth, something like that that happens. So I go in, I grab my fire extinguisher and this can of fire extinguishing liquid, and I run back out in the hallway. But even in that short span of like 5 seconds that I'm doing that, it had gotten much worse, and I knew it was too bad already because There's a door at the end of the hallway, and I started seeing the orange flames come up from the little glass port in the door. So I just started, at this point, other people were started getting out of their doors and were like, "What's going on?" And I just started yelling, "Get out," because the fire was clearly too bad already. And if you want to know something ridiculous, the first thing I grab from my room as I'm like hauling ass to get out of there, so I grabbed three books. That was the first thing that I grabbed. Not my wallet, not my keys. I already had my phone in my pocket. I grabbed three books, and I have two of them here. Now, if you really want to know something comical, I'll show them to you. So it was two of my recent books that I got, and they're really amazing. But here it is. So one of them was Bottom's Dream, which is 12 pounds and, massive. And then the other one I got recently is this first folio of Shakespeare. And it has like original spelling and all that type of stuff. It's like the folio from 1623. So imagine my goofy self, like, running out of the room, running out of the building with no socks or shoes on. I'm barefoot. Everyone else has like laptops and computers and, you know, a printer. And I'm sitting there with these huge books in my lap outside. So after I had brought the books out, I was like, wait a minute, I need my wallet and my keys. So I ran back in there, and the smoke was getting worse and worse. So I was like, it was thick smoke. And I grabbed my wallet and my keys, and as I'm running back out, I'm still hearing this guy yelling. So then I get on my phone, call 911. They ask, "Oh, all this stuff. Where's the emergency? Is everyone out of the building?" And I tell them, "No, there's a guy trapped on the second floor near the alleyway." So I told them exactly where the guy was who was trapped. And luckily, my apartment just happened to be maybe a minute run away from the fire department. So as soon as I called them, you basically heard the siren like immediately coming over the hill. And they went straight to the alleyway to get him out, which I'm very glad about because I had really bad feelings about him. It sounded really bad, and I saw the fire, but he was taken away in critical condition from the smoke, breathing in superheated smoke. And yeah, the whole half of the apartment that I live in is gone. Like the whole half of the apartment complex, including my apartment. They ripped out the ceiling because the fire was spreading through the attic and the insulation in the ceiling. So the firefighters ripped out the whole ceiling. And my apartment didn't have sprinklers, so the firefighters used their big sprinkler and got tons of stuff wet, but they stopped the fire. Um, but my apartment had fire damage in the ceiling and smoke was everywhere. Like my floors were black. Like pieces of paper that were on the floor, like I had some pieces of paper on the floor, they were black from smoke and they were originally white. So as you can imagine, I was like, shit, all my books are gone. Luckily, only about a third of my books were destroyed. Most of the ones on the bookshelves are safe. Some water like fell from the ceiling or just kind of sprayed randomly and got on them and ruined them. But um, yeah, about 100 to 150 books are gone. My bed is done. My desk, more than half of my clothes, and yeah, and yeah, it's been a crazy few days. I just spent the last 2 days salvaging whatever I could out of my room. That's been pretty stressful, heavy too. Books are not a light hobby in several ways, but so um, if you have extra money laying around, my cousin started a GoFundMe for me, and if you would be willing and kind and generous enough to donate, I would appreciate it. But yeah, it's been crazy. I'm not sure exactly how I'm going to keep going to school because I don't have anywhere to live down there. Some friends have said that I could stay with them, but it's not a long-term solution. So, but yeah, it's pretty crazy. Wouldn't wouldn't wish it on any person who reads. There was even one guy, like I was outside sitting in this bar that was across the street. They were still open at the time, and I was sitting there with my books, and he had his backpack with a like laptop and everything. He's like, "You brought your books?" I'm like, "Yeah, dude, I'm crazy." No, but yeah. And then as I was sitting out there too, like I was sitting out there. This is like in the first few minutes. Like I'm just sitting there on the ground with my books in my lap, and then I just see this raccoon hauling ass from out under the building. It's like, and then that raccoon, the whole until the morning, like until 8 a.m., was just walking around dazed, just in circles, like, oh my god, my whole apartment's gone. But yeah, so I was also interviewed by the news. I'll put a link to that. But yeah, death is a gang boss. Death is a gang boss.